Well, just what the hell is going on in Milwaukee? The Bucks, who are helmed by a literal generational star in Giannis Antetokounmpo, are spiraling precipitously out of control and heading down the toilet drain of the play-in tournament. Now, check that lottery of this upcoming draft. If things do not change, and I mean change quickly and drastically, this team will not even remotely sniff even the play-in tournament. The Bucks are just 1-4 this year and have lost 4 consecutive games after beating the injury-depleted Philadelphia 76ers in their opener.
That is ridiculously bad. It really is.
With their last loss being an absolutely humiliating 122-99 beatdown by the Memphis Grizzlies, a game the Bucks were, mind you, favored in by 6.5 points and trailed in by as many as 31.
What a hell of a coaching job.
The only team in the entire league with a worse record than Milwaukee currently is the Utah Jazz. The Jazz, who are also the only team in the entire NBA with a worse net differential than Milwaukee.
What?
Yes, that is not a joke. There is no punchline because it is no laughing matter what is going on in Milwaukee this season. The Bucks' minus 8.6 point per game net differential is second worst league-wide. All of this with Giannis absolutely balling this year like he does every year, year in and year out. Since winning back-to-back league MVPs in 2019 and 2020, Giannis has finished top 4 in MVP voting every year since and has now been first-team All-NBA for 6 consecutive seasons entering this one. This is while making an All-NBA defensive first team 4 years during that span. Oh, and by the way, adding a Defensive Player of the Year award in 2020 to go along with his MVP that season. Giannis, if you're keeping track, is one of only 3 players in league history to win both, joining Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. Then, just 1 year following that historic season by him, Giannis dragged a trash can of a roster to an NBA championship. An NBA championship in his aged 26th season with Chris Middleton as the second best player on his roster. Giannis is not just on the trajectory to being an all-time great player, he already is. His 6 first-team All-NBA selections is as many as Hakeem Olajuwon and Kevin Durant, while it is more than Charles Barkley, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, and Steph Curry. Yeah, Giannis doesn't even turn 30 until December. And accordingly this season, he has shown no decline, averaging 30 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, and 6 assists, essentially his annual yearly averages for the last 7 seasons and counting, while he is currently shooting 66% from the field in this young NBA season, which would be a career high. Sure, this team looks awful right now. Sure, Damian Lillard looks like an absolutely abysmal miscalculation by the Bucks front office. Sure, their characteristic near-league best defense has been in shambles ever since that transaction, essentially swapping Dame for Drew Holiday. And, well, yes, Chris Middleton is not playing yet this season. Like that is supposed to be breaking news of some sort. The oldest 33-year-old on planet Earth who hasn't made it out of the 60s in terms of games played in the last 5 seasons isn't playing. Shocking. But hey, let's forget all of that for a moment and allow me to take you all back to a simpler time. A time where a very similar looking Bucks roster looked much better. It was January 25th of 2024. And yes, I know that was only 10 months ago. But at that point of time, Drew Holiday was already gone. Dame was already in town, and the Milwaukee Bucks were 31-13. And that record on that date was tied for the second best in the NBA, tied with Oklahoma City and Minnesota. The only team above the Bucks at that point in time was the 35-10 eventual champion Boston Celtics. So what exactly was it that changed on January 26th that fundamentally altered the trajectory of that team last year? What exactly was it? Oh, right. That is when the moron Bucks ownership decided to change coaches. But not just that, they decided to install the historical floating dumpster fire Doc Rivers. The Bucks promptly closed the year going just 18-20. So they were winning games at a 70% clip before Rivers arrived and closed the season on a 47% rate after his hiring. The Bucks, of course, predictably went into the playoffs and lost in the first round. But because Giannis missed the entire series with an injury, while Dame even missed 2 games with injuries of his own, Rivers was given a pass. But have we now seen enough in Milwaukee this season? Second worst record in the league, second worst net differential, their most recent loss, the aforementioned 23-point curb stomping by Memphis, should be seen as rock bottom. Giannis had 37 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and shot 17 of 22 from the field in only 33 minutes. That was good enough to play at a net neutral 0 on the plus-minus scale. But again, they were down by as many as 31 in this game, a game they were favored in again by 6.5 points. This is all coming under the leadership of a guy in Doc who holds a number of dubious NBA distinctions, including most blown 3-1 leads in playoff history, most home Game 7 losses in playoff history, and most potential series-clinching games lost in playoff history.
That is ridiculously bad. It really is.
It is time to flush the turd and fire Doc Rivers before he flushes any more of Giannis Antetokounmpo's prime down a toilet. In fact, this is coming from a guy and a voice that is patently opposed to player movement and star players with money left on contracts demanding trades. However, this is now year 12 for Giannis in Milwaukee, surrounded by middling to subpar supporting casts and by and large inept ownership and pitiful front offices. Perhaps enough is enough for Giannis in Milwaukee.